Okay, welcome back to Kifiye Boxing Channel. Today we're doing something different. I'm actually in my office. I got my desk, I got my book, I got my pen, and today we're going to do something different, and I'm going to talk about my reaction to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight that happened on the weekend. Okay, I get, with being a boxing coach, you get a lot of questions when it comes to certain fights and my prediction and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be a good idea to just sit down in the comfort of my office here and just share my thoughts and opinions on Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, Jake Paul himself and boxing, the whole influencer YouTubing boxing. I thought, why not? Let's just sit down and have a little chat and share my thoughts on it. Okay. So, obviously Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fought on the weekend. As you all know, those who watched it or are in tune with it, Jake Paul won on points. Okay. Now the first thing is, did I buy into all this? Yeah, did I watch their build up to this? Was I paying attention? I wasn't, if I'm honest with you. I didn't buy into it. Okay. Just to start off with, Mike Tyson was my favorite boxer when I grew up. I grew up in the 90s and Mike Tyson was my favorite boxer. Okay, he was awesome. Okay, he was ferocious, he was powerful, he was fast, he was knocking people out. He was fear personified. He put fear in people. Yeah. And as a youngster, when you're watching boxing, you want to see knockouts, you want to see big punches, you want to see big people falling. And Mike Tyson just did that for me, okay, from a youngster. Obviously, as I grew up and I appreciated boxing more, I started appreciating the art of boxing and other boxers, Muhammad Ali, Roy Jones Jr., and I started liking a lot more different fighters because of their style and their understanding of boxing. But if I had to put my hand on heart, when I grew up watching boxing, who was my favourite fighter, it was hands down Mike Tyson. So anything to do with Mike Tyson, my eyes are turned. Does that make sense? So once I knew he was fighting Jake Paul, as a fan, yeah, I was interested in what Mike Tyson was doing. But did I buy into the fact that he's going to be fighting and, you know, is he going to be doing good? Not really at all. I didn't watch the build up. The only thing I watched was on social media, the snippets of Mike Tyson slapping him, for example, you know, here and there. But I didn't really pay attention, okay, because I didn't buy into it, okay. Mike Tyson, obviously, you know, they set this fight up and Mike Tyson got back in training and he was looking awesome on the pads. Yeah, in training he was looking awesome, and a lot of people were then saying, oh, Mike Tyson's back, Mike Tyson is what he was, he's going to knock out Jake Paul, Jake Paul's got no chance, this, that, the other. So again, I don't really entertain these conversations. Yeah. Now this brings me on to a very good point here, okay, and that is, a lot of people watch Mike Tyson and thought he is the old Mike Tyson, he is going to knock Jake Paul out. Yeah, why? Because they watched him on the pads, they watched him on the bag, and he looked awesome. Those who are in the training combat sports, whether it's boxing, Muay Thai, whatever, MMA, you can see, through my experience, I've seen people look absolutely awesome when it comes to shadow boxing, when it comes to hitting the bag, when it comes to pad work. They look awesome, fast, strong, hard. Yeah. When it comes to real life sparring, they're the total opposites. Okay, the total opposites. And you don't see what you see on the bag in sparring. So it's two different things. Training and real fighting is two different things. Okay, and a lot of people will know this, but a lot of other people, Joe public, you know, they don't know this. So they see somebody training, somebody hitting pads, and they think absolutely this guy's awesome. He must be a beast when it comes to the ring. But unfortunately, they can't transfer that into the ring. Okay, that's very common. And another example of this is when you see people punching a punch machine. Okay, going for that knockout punch, and they'll smack it and they get really high numbers, and people think, wow, that guy's got a knockout punch. Okay, but put that same person, that same swinging, and sometimes no technique, and sometimes technique, but put that same person with that technique that they got or no technique in the ring, and they can't hit the person. Why? Because the person's a moving target. They're not standing still like a punch bag or a punch machine. They're a moving target, number one. Number two, that person is actually hitting you just as much as you want to be hitting them, as fast and hard. They're hitting you. So now you got that fear element in you. Okay? So you're not just hitting a static thing as hard as you can. Okay? That's why when people say to me, oh, this guy's got such a hard punch of the machine, fine, he has. But I understand that does not, you can't transfer that always into the real ring. Okay? So, yeah, he trained, he looked good, brilliant, good for him. He got in shape, absolutely good for him, okay? But did I really watch it and think, okay, well, he's going to have a good chance with Jake Paul? No. I was asked for my prediction many times in last week, okay? And I just said to people that, look, I'm not really going to be paying attention. I will watch it afterwards when I get a chance to see what happened. But, you know, you got a 58-year-old man, okay, who's gone through a lot of training over the years, and he's at the stage where he isn't as what he was. His mobility, his balance, his coordination, his power, his punch resistance is not going to be the same. And then you got a young person in his 20s. I don't know how old he is, but he's in his 20s, I think. Athletic, fit, okay? He's got the youngness about him. He's athletic. He's got the power, speed, fast reaction, which is a very important thing. Okay, your reactions aren't as good when you're older compared to when you're younger. My reaction and speed and the reflexes aren't as good when I was in my teens as I am now. Does that make sense? So my prediction was Jake Paul was going to win. My prediction was Jake Paul was going to win over points. I don't think he was going to knock Tyson out. I don't think it was going to be a spectacle of a fight. I don't think it was going to be a fantastic fight. I just predicted Jake Paul was going to win. Okay? Part of me was, you know, the fact that he was young and etc. and all the examples I just gave you, but also there's an element of, is all this scripted? Yeah, is all this fake, basically? Yeah, which he's been accused of over the past with his fights, etc. So that was, you know, partly. But really, I thought a younger guy will, you know, win the older person, and that doesn't always happen. But in this case, that was my prediction. Okay, so let's move on to the fight itself. Yeah, so the fight itself, you know, Mike Tyson came out. And he had that style, you know, the bob and weave, the side to side, just coming to that hook and everything, and fast, ferocious punches, and they looked awesome for that first round, for that first 15, 20, 30 seconds. He looked absolutely awesome. Yeah, put Jake Paul on the back foot. Jake Paul was hitting and moving. Yeah, but my prediction was that Tyson couldn't do this for long, and exactly what happened. 2-3 rounds later, it was a totally different Mike Tyson. He just stood there. He hardly threw anything. When he did move, you can tell he was off balance. The mobility and flexibility wasn't there. Jake Paul just hit and moved, and it looked comfortable. He was just peppering with his jab, a few shots and moving. Yeah. Mike Tyson towards the end, the last 2-3 rounds, he didn't do hardly anything. He threw one big punch now and again, but the output wasn't the same. The most thing that he did do was biting his glove more than actually throwing punches at Jake Paul. Okay, so that's how the fight panned out. Jake Paul then won on points, basically. Now, Jake Paul, what I did notice throughout the fight, Jake Paul was hitting and moving and wasn't really going in for the kill. Now, was he doing that because out of fear that he's going to get knocked out by Mike Tyson? Or was there some level of respect for Mike Tyson? Okay. Now, I think, and I heard somebody else talk about this as well, about the respect element. I do think that it was the respect element for Mike Tyson. Why do I think that? Prior to the fight, the build-up of the fight, Jake Paul was going crazy about it. I'm going to knock him out, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to end his career, this idea. So that was rude, disrespectful. I didn't like that. So that's why I wasn't really paying attention. Because at the end of the day, Mike Tyson was my favourite fighter. I don't want to hear all that crap about him. During the fight, I did see Jake Paul take his foot off the pedal. He could have hit Mike Tyson a lot more, especially the last few rounds when Mike Tyson was a sitting duck. He could have hit him a lot more, but he didn't. Out of respect, I think so, yeah? And another reason why I think that is because if you watch the last round, the last 10, 15 seconds, he actually paid tribute to Mike Tyson. He actually did the whole, you know, bowing down, clapping, etc. Yeah, he went back and he did that little tribute to Mike Tyson, okay, right at the end. And then instantly when the bell went, he didn't go out to celebrate. He actually went straight to Mike Tyson. He embraced Mike Tyson, hugged him, thanked him. And you can tell that level of respect was there for Mike Tyson. As well as that, his team came straight in and met Mike Tyson. So they're in the middle of the ring, and they were meeting Mike Tyson, thankful for him, etc. So it just shows what a star Mike Tyson was in that instant. Does that make sense? That he was the legend of boxing in that fight. Jake Paul may have his followers and everything, but when it comes to the boxing legend, there was only one in that ring, and that was Mike Tyson. Yeah. So similarly, how I was a fan and I'd meet him, these guys came in meeting him. So that shows me that Jake Paul had that level of respect for him throughout. And the build-up was just a build-up to sell the fight, which unfortunately happens in combat sport, okay? So I think Jake Paul had that respect for him and took his foot off the pedal and didn't really hit Mike Tyson as much as he could have, okay? And then even afterwards in the interview, he was praising Mike Tyson straight away. There was no animosity. There was no like hard words. He was praising Mike Tyson, explaining how much respect he's got for him and his family, how well they got on beforehand, etc. And this and the other. So you can tell there was a level of respect there for him. So I think that's why the fight panned out the way it did. And I do think that the fight was an exhibition fight. Simple as that. Okay, it wasn't a real boxing fight. It was purely an exhibition fight. And that's my take on the actual fight, how it happened, okay? Now, it comes to the question of, was this scripted, and is Jake Paul's fight scripted? Now, he's been accused of that. People taking a fall, getting knocked out, etc., payday, all that things comes into play, yeah? I don't know. Do you understand? And do I care? Not really. It doesn't even bother me, does it really? If it's scripted, it's scripted. If it's not, it's not. I don't care. Does that make sense? He has been accused of that, but only him, the people that he's fighting, the team around him, only they know for sure whether things like this are scripted or not, the outcome, etc., etc. and that. But the bottom line is, who won out of this? Jake Paul won the fight, but who actually won? And in my eyes, both Mike Tyson and Jake Paul won. Why? Because they had made a hell of a lot of money. Yeah, Mike Tyson came back into the ring just to experience what he used to experience all his career of boxing, yeah? The lights, the audience, the massive arena, people shouting his name, that's a buzz, okay? And Mike Tyson got to experience that again. Jake Paul got to live like a fighter, main eventing, again, a massive name like Mike Tyson. So he's a winner of that. And when it comes to paydays, they both, I'm sure, have walked away with a hell of a lot of money, okay? And on top of that as well, who else won are people who actually fought on that undercard as well, because I'm pretty sure they had a platform and they made a lot of money. So Katie Taylor, for example, I'm sure she made a lot of money off this fight as well in comparison to fighting elsewhere, because Jake Paul has got a lot of following. He will bring different eyes to the event and bums in seat. Does that make sense? So that moves me on to, is this Jake Paul, YouTube influence, etc., YouTube influencers and other influencers, boxing, is it good for boxing? Now, originally I thought it was hurting the boxing. I thought I wasn't much for it. It was like, I thought it would be bad for boxing, but truth be told, when I be watching it and stuff, it brings new eyes to boxing, yeah, and it brings new people to boxing, the sport of boxing, and it brings people in the seats, in the arenas, okay? These people have got massive followings, so they're bringing all that, and also they're bringing a lot of money to boxing as well. So there is some benefits of it. I do think that they do need to stay in their lane, okay? It's exhibition boxing, they need to stay in the lane, okay? And there's a difference when it comes to the real boxers, real fighters, etc. And then you've got to show that respect to them as well, that you're just an exhibition, and these guys are the ones who are truthfully the real boxers, pro boxers, and they're the best at this sport. They're the masters of the sport, basically. Okay, so my view is that fine, it's there, it'll benefit the boxing, but stay in your lane. Okay, now Jake Paul, is he a real boxer? He talks about fighting Canelo, etc., etc., etc. Okay, now his record has always been legends of MMA and legends of boxing. Those who've had a career, and then he's having a fight with them. Okay, Anderson Silva, Mike Tyson, for example. Okay, legends of the combat sport. The only boxer who I could say is an active boxer, but he isn't really that active, or the actual boxer, was Tommy Fury. And truth be told, he lost fair and square. Yeah, he punched Tommy Fury, knocked him down, but he got out of boxed by him. It wasn't a beating, but he got out boxed, and that showed there's levels to this game. Does that make sense? Can Jake Paul? He's talking about Canelo, but can he really? I mean, I think he was at heavyweight, like 220 pounds, like 16 stone. But I think there's talks about him about cruiserweight and this, that, the other. Can he enter the ring with the current crop of cruiserweights? The likes of, Jay Opatai, Chris Billion-Smith fought on the weekend. Unfortunately lost, but he's a cruiserweight. Lawrence Okolie and these. Can he rub shoulders with them? No chance. In my opinion, no. He'll get found out straight away. Yeah, why? Because these guys are proper boxers, proper cruiserweights, and they've been doing it for years, and they will easily beat Jake Paul, in my opinion. Okay. So why Canelo? Why mention Canelo all the time? Yeah, Canelo's the face of boxing, but also is the money of boxing, and this where this comes into. It's all about money. Okay. Now Jake Paul could take two paths, right, to trying to fight Canelo. One is that if he actually puts himself out there when it comes to the real boxers and works through the rankings of boxers, fighting somebody in the top 15, fighting somebody in the top 10, fighting somebody in the top 5, okay? Go through that route and actual active boxers, and then see if he can get there, yeah? What would happen there is he would get found out and he would lose, and then his stock would come down, and then he probably won't get a chance to fight Canelo because he's lost so many times, okay? The other way of trying to get Canelo is through money. He's beating people who have got big names, okay? And it's bringing money to the events, it's bringing money to his stock, and his stock is rising, okay? And then he can turn around to Canelo or any other one of the big names and say, right, I want to fight you. And then their heads will turn, because ultimately they will look at that fight and think, an easy fight, but I get paid a hell of a lot of money. Do you understand? Why shall I miss out on this? It's happening at the moment. YouTube influencers, it's a big thing right now. So why not? Why not take this fight and beat him and get paid a hell of a lot of money? Enjoy the whole extravagant event, the fiasco, etc., the build-up and everything. Enjoy the moment and have an easier fight than normal, and then get paid a hell of a lot of money. Does that make sense? So if Jake Paul takes the route that he's doing, his stock would rise, and potentially he could offer somebody a hell of a lot of money for them to, it'd be hard for them to refuse. If you took the route of trying to fight somebody within top 10, top 5 rankings, etc., he will lose and his stock would come down. Simple as that. That's my opinion. Okay, that's my opinion. But I didn't watch it live. I watched it a day after. I caught up with it, and if I'm honest with you, I watched it knowing it's not going to be an amazing fight, knowing it's not going to be the best fight of the year, or a fight that I'd watch again, if I'm honest with you. Okay, it's not one of those Hagler and Hearns, Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, Gatti and Ward. These fights that you want to watch again and again and again. Okay, I watched it. If I'm honest with you, I don't think I watched it from bell to bell. I was probably doing things on my phone. I was doing something else, and then I was catching snippets of what was going on. And that's exactly my view was before and after. I've not changed my view after watching the fight, basically. Yeah. So yeah, good on them both. They got in there. They had a ding dong and got out there, made a hell of a lot of money, and hopefully their quality of life can improve. And that's it. They will move on. And then we, as the public, we will just move on to the next big name, next big fight, whether that's UFC, whether that's boxing, whatever that is. Okay, we will always be entertained, and that's what all this is: sports, entertainment, and entertaining people like us. So I hope you enjoyed this video, something different, my reaction on this. If there's anything else you want me to have a reaction on, explain my opinion on things, then by all means drop me a comment. I hope you guys watch this video till the end. Leave me a comment on this, and if there's anything else that you want me to do a reaction on, or even any sit down in my office, then give me a comment, give me feedback, and I'll get on to it. Until next time, guys, I hope you the best. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.